moving on, Rajivji, we've got some very important topics that we've seen in the news lately. So we just wanted to talk to you about that. The latest being an article in Times of India saying stringent H-1B visa norms in the US to impact non-IT workers. What are your views on this? How much impact do you think it's going to be having on the IT industry?
Well, there are several issues. This could be a good half an hour conversation. Since our time is limited, I'll try to make it as short as possible. First of all, there is many a slip between the cup and the lip. Until a bill becomes law, it is still a bill. This is not the first time this bill has been floated by Representative Darrell Issa from California. He basically wants to redefine the amount of salary at which an employer finds it a little easier to recruit H-1B employees. So he's just raising the salary. I'm starting with the very basic overview. There are two kinds of H-1B employers: those who have a lot of H-1B visa holders on their workforce, and those who have very few. So those who have substantial number of H-1B workers, the cutoff is 15%. For the smaller companies, it's a different math. I don't want to get into the math, but overall the idea is if you have a large number of H-1B employers, 15% or more, you become subject to certain additional regulatory requirements when you recruit a US worker. The most important ones of those requirements are: one, you have to recruit. You have to actually actively prove for your records. You don't have to submit the information to the government, but you have to prove and keep records that you tried to recruit US workers and you were not able to find US workforce for the job that you are now giving to an H-1B worker. So H-1B dependent employers have recruitment requirement. There are certain other requirements, such as it's called secondary displacement, where you're supposed to call the site, the job site where you're placing the worker, and make sure they haven't laid off any US workers before you place your H-1B employee there, and up to a few days after you place the H-1B employee there. So the idea was that H-1B dependent employers will have to go through some additional hoops before they can hire, place, and continue to employ H-1B workers. But Congress gave us an exception, saying that if you are paying an employee $60,000 or the employee has a master's degree, you don't have to do these additional hoops. So once again, the old law, or the law as it exists today, I should call it the present law, if your worker, even though you are an H-1B dependent employer, so if you're an H-1B independent employer, you have no problem. This law that is pending, or bill that is pending, has no effect on you. The only people who are affected, only companies who are affected, are H-1B dependent companies. If you're an H-1B dependent company, you would have had to go through the additional hoops, except for if you are paying your employee $60,000 or more, or not both, or they have a master's degree, not necessarily a US master's degree. So what Darrell Issa's bill does is it raises the amount to $100,000 and it removes the master's degree exemption. From what I recall, I'm trying to remember, I didn't review the bill just recently because I'm not sure it's going to go anywhere. This bill has been introduced before and it failed before. We'll see what happens, but the idea was that we'll remove the master's degree and we will raise the salary to $100,000. So if you want to have an exempt employee, you have to pay them $100,000, and this will be inflation adjusted eventually. So it's not just a raw figure, we keep raising it based upon inflation. That in a nutshell is the law. Does that make sense?
Right.
Does that make sense? Do you understand What I just
I have understood part of it, Rajiv, and I really feel if it gets implemented, then to reach up to the cap of $100,000, it would be, I think, very difficult for. This is what the article goes on to say for financial advisors, artists, teachers, and I'm sure like a lot of people in the category of teachers are always outsourced from another country. So, do you think, I mean, it would be the other sectors which would be hit if this comes through?
well
Or
let's
would they need to really work around something?
no, let us look at what the law does. If this bill becomes law, an employer to be affected by this would have to be, first of all, an H-1B dependent employer, right? So first thing is you have to be H-1B dependent. Second, if your job is a relatively entry-level job, it isn't that you can't hire an H-1B worker, it's just that you've got to advertise first, make sure there are no US workers available, and if there are no US workers available, then you go ahead and meet and comply with the other heightened requirements such as non-displacement provisions, and you can still hire an H-1B employer. It's not a dead stop. So the article that you referred to, I did cursorily glance through it. It appears to be a little incomplete. I'm sure they have a limit to how much they can put in an article, but the article is incomplete in that it doesn't explain further that even if this law is implemented, it does not mean a dead stop to all H-1B workers hired by H-1B dependent employers if they don't pay them $100,000. That's not this law. Okay.
All right. Anyways, Rajivji, this is all from my end. Anything else that you want to convey to our listeners?
No, that's pretty much it. And as always, it's always a pleasure talking with you. And to all our listeners, thank you for listening, folks.
Yes, Rajivji, I'm sure for any queries, they can certainly reach in here at kamal@mirasangeet.com or reach you at immigration.com.
Certainly. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajivji. Have a good day ahead.
You too. Bye-bye.